Hi, everyone. It is week 3, and I wanted to talk to you about your speech 1. So this week you're being asked to review the assignment sheet and the rubric for speech 1. So I wanted to kind of talk through that and give you some pointers. Also wanted to address some of the things I'm seeing in your wiki entries and the credibility. So let's start with the source credibility assignments. Thank you for the work that you've done so far. I think being able to identify a source's credibility or his or her or their ethos is a really good starting point for thinking about and analyzing speeches, especially as you begin to craft your own. One of the things that I did see in this week's responses was people saying that the person speaking, Alex, I don't remember his last name, was credible because he had a YouTube channel. And so I just wanted to address the fact that just because somebody has a social media presence with a lot of followers does not necessarily mean that they're qualified. So being able to dig a little bit more, do a Google search for someone to find out what their credentials are. So a few of you found out that this person was a professor and that they were a coach, a communication coach. So don't take it at face value that just because someone is popular on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, whatever, that they are skilled in the area that they're talking about. Oftentimes it means that, but don't assume that they are an expert in that field. Sometimes people can be very popular because they are very charismatic and they connect with their audience, so they have a good deal of pathos. We feel that connection, we are drawn to them, but that doesn't mean that they have a good deal of ethos or even logos. They might not have evidence, and they might not be an ethical public speaker. So just when you do search for your sources, make sure that you're doing a little bit more digging to find out who they are and where they're from. And for your speech 1, it's very open-ended. I'm going to share my screen and open up and take a look at that's not what I want, the speech 1 assignment. So it is a short assignment. It is 3 to 5 minutes. You do not have to have an audience for this one, and you are recording it on your webcam. So as I am doing, you are focusing on the camera and not the monitor. You are thinking about the situation in which you're filming. So finding a place with good lighting that doesn't have a lot of distractions around it. Try to find a place where there are no other people. So finding, a closet or an office or tucked somewhere in your basement or even on campus or at your school that you can have some privacy and quiet. Think about your setup as well. When I watch some of your introductory videos in your top 5, just being aware of how your camera is angled. Remember, we want to see you from about this angle, your head to the top part of your shoulders and arms. If you gesticulate like I do and you want to be able to use your gestures in your video, think about if your audience can see those. And making sure that if you are wearing like a sweatshirt or a hat, that you remove your hat, you put your sweatshirt hood down, just so that we can focus on your eye contact. It's harder to connect with your audience via a camera. This is where we're moving toward in our communication with so many more of our meetings and our classes on Zoom. But you want to make sure that you are connecting with your audience in a way that they feel they can trust you and that they can engage with you, even though you're doing it in a recorded situation. So think about those things as you prepare for, during week 5, recording and uploading your speeches. Make sure that when you do upload your speeches, if you're using a YouTube link, that it is viewable. I know I talked about private settings. I think there's a difference, and I don't know, honestly, but I believe there's a difference between private and unlisted or unpublished. I have all of my videos set to public just so that it's easier for my students to see them. You are free to, once you have uploaded them and I've graded them, if you want to take them down, you certainly can. But remember that it's mostly going to be us watching them. You can also upload it as a video file. Just know that larger video files take a really long time to upload. So usually having a YouTube link is a little bit quicker and easier on your part. So for speech 1, it's very open-ended: object, person, event, or concept. You can pretty much cover most territory given those 4 options. 3 to 5 minutes. You are going to be, again, delivering it via video, no audience required. You will write everything out that you want to say in your speech, just like you would write an essay out. You will submit that to me, but you will not be reading your speech. So you'll need to make yourself note cards or speaking cards of some sort that you can deliver without having to read from your speech. It's pretty easy for me and your audience to tell if you are directly reading your speech, because your eye contact will be on the screen. Your speech patterns will be a bit more halted, and it will sound like you're reading. So you want to be able to make note cards or make speaking notes and practice. I recommend at least 10 times, enough that you are familiar with the content, you are comfortable with the flow, you know when and where you want to pause, where you might want to emphasize something if you want to use a visual. So being able to practice enough times that you really know where your speech is going. I know it can be intimidating to not have it in front of you, but we would rather you have a conversation with us than talk at us and not engage with us. So making sure that you're practicing enough that you get comfortable with that. I will be posting some student samples from previous terms for you to look at. I have a couple of samples. I had students do a cultural speech a few years ago, and I have a few good ones, one on the Roaring 20s, one on 80s pop culture. So that would be kind of considered a concept. If you have an artist that you love that you'd like us to know more about, you could do it on that person. If you have, for objects, some kind of memorabilia or some kind of object that you feel really represents you or is really meaningful in your own life that you want to tell us about, you are required to have some outside research for this speech, which will mean that you tell us verbally where that information is coming from, and that you also include that information in a bibliography in your outline. So you are giving us the full source information, author, publication, date of publication, title of publication. You don't have to give us all of that information in the speech itself, but you might do something like, according to CNN.com, they say 43,000 Americans suffered from XYZ. So you need to let us know when you are bringing information from outside sources. That's called a verbal or oral citation. So those are some of the components of this first speech. So again, I'll look for a couple of student samples that I can post and that you can take a look at. And I would love it if you ran your ideas by me. So send me an email if you're thinking of a couple different topics you're not sure. A couple of you did mention in your wiki entries, making sure that you're picking topics that your audience is interested in. Yes, you want to pick something that you care about, that you can speak about and speak about passionately, but you also want to think about what your audience is interested in knowing about. So you might be very, very into gaming, but being able to tell your audience about a game if they've never played it can really be difficult to translate. So then you might instead talk about a style of game that you enjoy and why you enjoy it and how long it's been around and things like that. So think about the level of detail that you want to include, what your audience will connect with, and the fact that you only have 3 to 5 minutes to do that, which is not really a lot of time to convey a passion with a lot of detail. So I hope that helps. As always, if you have questions about anything, let me know, and I'm happy to meet on Zoom like this, or in person, or on the phone, or via email. So have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk soon. Bye.